is fatal to prejudice, meaning if you meet people where they live, you find out they're just like you. I had no chance to leave the segregated world of Richmond, Virginia when I was growing up, but I visited the library every week, and I liked to think through books. I traveled the world without a plane ticket or a passport. And born from my love of reading came my desire to be a writer. I worked away for decades and getting rejected over and over, but I kept going, honing my craft, remaining disciplined, taking the rejections head on, and using them as motivation, and finally I was successful. And after 60 novels under my belt, I worked just as hard as I ever have. It's the American way. You work hard, you play fair, you stay the course, and you'll make it. I truly believed that until my son asked ChatGPT to write a plot that read like a David Baldacci novel. In about 5 seconds, 3 pages came out that had elements of pretty much every book I'd ever written, including plot lines, twists, character names, narrative, the works. That's when I found out that the AI community had taken most of my novels without permission and fed them into the machine learning system. I truly felt like someone had backed up a truck to my imagination and stolen everything I'd ever created. I'm aware of the argument that what AI did to me and other writers is no different than an aspiring writer reading other books and learning how to use them in original ways. I can tell you from personal experience that is flatly wrong. I was once such an aspiring writer. My favorite novelist in college was John Irving. I read everything that Irving wrote. None of my novels read remotely like a John Irving novel. Why? Well, unlike AI, I can't remember every line that Irving wrote, every detail about his characters and his plots. The fact is, also unlike AI, I read other writers not to copy them or steal from them, but because I love their stories. I appreciate their talent. It's motivated me to up my game. What AI does is take what writers produce as an incredibly valuable shortcut. It's like super fuel to teach software programs what they need to know. And I have learned that these trillion-dollar companies didn't even buy my books. They got them off a website that has pirated works. They complained that it would be far too difficult to license the works from individual creators, so apparently it was more efficient to steal it. Trillion-dollar companies with battalions of lawyers did not have the resources to do things lawfully. I was once a trial lawyer. If I had made that argument in court, I would either have been laughed out of the courtroom or held in contempt by the judge, and rightly so. If AI companies only needed words, they could have fed every dictionary in the world into their machine learning. But that was not nearly good enough because it would mean decades of additional work and hundreds of billions of dollars of additional investment. What they needed was complete, well-crafted, living, breathing stories with characters that seemed real, plots that made sense, dialogue that appeared genuine, humanity on the page. In sum, they needed us and our craft that we learned with the sweat of our brows and the flexing of our imaginations. And these companies have swooped in, stolen that labor in order to make enormous profits. But we, the writers, the true source of all of this, will receive nothing. AI will allow anyone, with no effort at all, to order up a novel written in the vein of an established writer. And that book can be sold saying that it reads just like a David Baldacci novel. Yes, it does read like my novels, because it is my novel. It is my imagination. People complain about cheap imported goods hurting American workers. Well, we have cheap books being created by American technology flooding the market. That will mean lower profits for publishers and less money to spend on new emerging writers. Trust me, that hurts all of us. Online vendors now require the author to disclose if a book was not human created. It's getting to the point where they will have to limit the number of books that someone can publish on a weekly or even daily basis. This is insane. Source code and elements of algorithms are also protected by copyright. I would hazard to bet that if I stole any of the AI community's source codes or algorithms and then tried to profit off them, they would unleash a tsunami of lawsuits against me. However, if, as AI contends, fair use is actually my entire body of work, there is no more copyright